I'd like to call this meeting of the Princeton City Council to order. Clerk call roll.
Mayor Mabry.
Here.
Councilmember Newman.
Here.
Gomez.
Here.
McCall.
Here.
And Selesky.
Here. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, very good. So this is our last council meeting of the year. Hard to believe that 2025 just wrapped up here. Wow. We're going to go ahead now and go to, before we start official public comment, we have, we have Princeton Veterans Organization, and Lynn Mullins is going to speak. So Lynn, come up to the microphone, please.
All righty. I believe I was here in May, and I left a letter in front of you for why I spoke in May, just as a reference, because I'm going to speak on it. So the letter I put in front of you is a copy of what I read in May, and I'm here to reiterate what was said that night and to follow up on the progress and requests made and ask an additional request. Just as I stated then, I am here representing the Princeton Veterans Group. The Princeton Veterans Group is a self-given name agreed by all the groups that is made up of the VFW, Post 4323, the American Legion, Post 125, and the AMVETS, Post 180. Each having their own charters. Okay? The VFW's charter calls for members to have served in theater of operations during time of war. The American Legion, who just recently chartered, calls for all members to have served during time of war. And the AMVETS, all they ask out of their veterans is to have served honorably during time of peace or war. Okay? And the Princeton Veterans Group, as we call ourselves, are comprised of all three of these chartered organizations and are somewhat of an anomaly in doing so. We realize that these three organizations in a town this size would struggle to exist if we had not been working together. But it wasn't just out of necessity. We understood and respect all who served, no matter when or how long they served. One of our presidents popularized the term and philosophy of peace through strength. You cannot possibly believe in peace through strength without acknowledging and respecting all those who served during time of peace or during time of war. Why do I mention this? Because that's exactly what the veterans recognize and see and want from the park across the street. That all veterans contributed to the liberties given to this nation, regardless of when they served during times of peace or war. And no one deserving to be elevated above the other through special recognition. With this being said, I refer to the sheet that I gave you before this meeting. In addition to the responsibility that I had on that sheet of vetting the names and on the plaques inside the gazebos, the little 2x4 plaques, 2-inch by 4-inch plaques with the names of deceased veterans from this area, the Veterans Group has accepted responsibility for the maintenance and care of the park from the Lions Club. The Veterans Group thanks them for all they have done over the years to make the park what it is, and hope they continue to use the park for their events. As for the previous request by the Veterans Group to this city, that's listed on that sheet, we asked then in May that the Princeton Veterans Group respectfully requested that the individual plaques and monuments in the park to be removed. The above named plaques are the ones are other than the ones, the 2x4 that's up in the gazebo. We're asking for the larger ones and the monuments and the bike racks and stuff like that to be removed. Okay? The above named plaques, okay, excuse me, some progress has been made up to this point, but we feel that this should be agreed upon by this council. And by putting it in writing, then we have authority to proceed with that. So it's up to this council to come up with that decision and give the authority, and that would help get that done. It's already, some of it has already been done, but the rest has not. The second request we made then is we ask the council to put in writing as to guide future governing bodies the rules and guidances to prevent future displays that contradict the intent of the Veterans Park as we see it. And that is to honor all who serve without honoring one over another. And I am unaware as to the council's response on that request. I never got anything back. I don't know if you discussed it after that meeting or what, but never got any response back on that. The third request that we made, and final request we made at the time, was understanding that the city of Princeton has overall responsibility for the park. The Princeton's Veterans Group requests that all future upgrades and improvements be deferred to the Veterans Group before final approval to ensure improvements and work within the intent of honoring all veterans equally. Okay? The Veterans Group appreciates how the city has honored that request and has been working with us and keeping us up on any of the changes made thus far. So we acknowledge that has in fact been going on. Throughout the process of the changes that's happened and what we requested and learning about some of the history of the park, it's come to our attention that the park has not officially been named Veterans Park. I've looked through some minutes that go quite back. I did see where they did change the name to Rotary Park. That was in there, but nothing that took anything away from it being known as City Hall Park officially. And that's been pointed out to us. If you go on the map quest or anywhere you want to look, that's called City Hall Park. Okay? And although everyone I know calls it Veterans Park, but yet there's no official. So officially, I would like to, the Princeton Veterans Group request that the council name the park that's due east across Main Street, currently named City Hall Park, but known to all locals as Veterans Park. We request that it be named Veterans Park officially. Thank you. That's all I have. And I've got a copy of these to leave to all council members also. Pass them around as you see. Thank you.
Lynn, before you step down, we could, this is kind of a hybrid situation. I was given the responsibility to be the liaison, and I got mired down in some issues. I thought I did a fair job, not as good as I was reporting to Lynn as my chain of command. He'd probably make me do a few push-ups right now. So Don Slutsky's offered to take over on this, and I appreciate that. He's done some research on this, and he's been keyed in on some things the past roughly 2 months. So Don's going to be your liaison on this. And I think it's a consensus from the council. If we could plan that, we could just shoot for let's shoot for the second meeting in January, that we could have something ready to go with some type of a proclamation, or it would be a resolution to name it Veterans Park. That would give us, we'll get to the first meeting in January, there could be some housekeeping there, we got some things going on our agenda. But by the second meeting, that might be an appropriate time to get this named Veterans Park. How's the council feel about that? Good about that?
Absolutely. I also think that to develop some guidelines about how the park should be overseen could be included in that as well, if we can.
That'd be great. And Don, you're game to work on those too with Lynn on those?
Yeah, I'll work with you on it.
Okay.
I'll give you a little history on the park. So the park was called City Hall Park, had been for years. It was a park that had a raised concrete platform in the center of it. Really, I don't know what the platform was for, Not really any plans. It was just kind of a empty park. It had a couple steel park benches that some elderly people would gather in and sit around. And they used to have, for Homestead, they used to have like flea markets over there. Well, there was kind of a concern that there was really no off-street parking. There was a strip that faces to the south. It was like you could park a couple of cars there, but Princeton Electric at the time had the building where the church is. And so that was kind of a parking for Princeton Electric there. So along probably 1999, and I've got this from my personal collection of stuff, there was a Main Street post that was a Precision or Future. It was one of these Main Street revitalization things that they had a mission statement to recognize, revitalize, and promote the historical culture, social and economic significance of downtown Princeton and educate the community on the benefits of its preservation throughout the involvement of the entire community. And what they did back then was they took, and I don't know how they were paid back or what they had done, but they had acquired just under $600,000 worth of loans from the local banks, and they also got a grant, and they were going to reinvest this into Main Street. And part of the reinvestment was that they were going to work on 2 park projects, and one of them was the park that you mentioned across the street, and the other one is a watering fountain park that is part of Park Avenue West and South Pleasant, or North Pleasant, no, Pleasant Street, South Pleasant, and that's the water fountain that you see that's for the horses and the dogs up there.
Oh, okay.
And I remember they did some beautification of that. They got the pump working for it. The water, dogs still drink out of it. Don't see any horses today, but there might be. And I think there was a gardening club. There's still a gardening club that takes care of that up there. Now, over there, and here's from '99, here is a picture of your park over there. There's one monument in it, which that's a veterans monument, is it?
Yep.
You like that one remain, or you want it removed?
No, that one is not elevating any individual.
Okay, you mentioned all of them removed. I thought you don't want that one removed,
No,
do you?
no,
Okay.
that,
So there's a gazebo there, and there's a few small planting trees there. And I remember back from the past, I think it was Jim Smith, Don Smith, Tom Foster, and probably wind power, Puffstein.
Frank.
They got together and they wanted to have off-street parking. And at the time, Arnie Clayton was the mayor, and he thought that would be good because it would be a safety issue, especially with Homestead going on. So they created those parking spots you see there as part of their off-street parking that's there. And I know Jim Smith, the bricks that are laid over there are off of Pleasant Street by the jail. They were reclaimed from the street, and they laid some bricks over there. The gazebo was erected, and they ended up getting, I think about 2002, I think it was a governor's award that they got. And typically those awards, they don't necessarily recognize individual groups for doing work that they say that you really do it for a sense of purpose for your community. But nevertheless, they got an award, and I think it was that group that decided to name it Veterans Park. They just named it Veterans Park because I think Jim Smith announced that they had a name for it as Veterans Park. The gardening committee, I believe, elderly got tired of working on it, and at some point, the Lions Club came into it. And I know the Lions Club worked on it, and I think the bike rack is actually the city's that they installed. Is that correct?
It's in memory of.
No, it was the city actually installed it.
Al, is that correct? You're nodding your head, is that right?
That bicycle rack was sitting out in the old shed out there by the landscape dump.
Sure.
And we cleaned it up, powder painted it, and installed it.
Okay.
There.
Got it.
So it's a city-owned.
Yep.
City-owned. So the Lions Club, you are correct. The Lions Club has done a lot of work over there in maintaining it. So you're maintaining that you want, as a veterans group, to take it over entirely on the upkeep, or do you want any help from the?
We were asked to replace what the Lions Club had been doing, which I consider just the maintenance and minor care.
Mm-hmm.
And that had been some, and I apologize for that, but that's just, I see the city as doing the major lifting over there. And they have been, I've been with the city for the last 2 decades plus.
Right.
And I've seen the city has been doing the major lifting. I mean, just like the tree removal, just a month or so ago, the lawn care and mowing, the city's paying for that.
Yeah.
Okay. We had already taken up responsibility because it bounced around. And I guess Tom Root had ran with taking care of the 2-before plaques in there and seeing to it that they were engraved and stuff for a few years.
No.
Okay. I don't know what else.
Al took those home and cleaned them up, because we've been the ones putting them up.
Okay. Well, let's, if we could, then let's, Don, do you have anything else you want to add to this? Your history, I appreciate it. You've been
No,
working on this.
I just brought the history up as to the park of how it ended up being named Veterans Park.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd like to get that officially then.
There was something about the monument, the big monument was once up here by the city building and got removed for the Virgil Fox plaque.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it had went away for a while, and maybe that was the mound you were talking about, some big concrete thing, but now there it is. So that monument's been around, but nobody can tell me, and I understand you are the history buff, and I was hoping to get with you sometime to find out how long from 1982 to what time that monument was reinstalled in the park.
Right.
Because the city probably had it sitting in one of their warehouses, is what I envisioned, until somebody said, let's make it better than the park. And that's,
Some of these monuments tend to move around. Like there's a big rock that had Darius Miller on it. There's a bronze plaque in it. I don't know where that's at now. So it's probably been moved. You've got the sculpture that was up there in the walkway. It's now over at the library. So sometimes monuments over time,
yeah.
And
because we come and we go, and I was just wanting something to be established. I mean, ever since I've been here, I only came here since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I've got with the veterans organizations probably about 2006. So, but we've always held our 11th month, 11th day, 11th hour ceremony on Veterans Day in this park. It's pretty miserable weather most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we've claimed that as home for our Veterans Park. Memorial Park, where we go and celebrate our dead, memorialize our dead, we do that up at the county park. But this here is Veterans Park. We do Veterans Day at Veterans Park. And that's what I've always known it as. And so I'm Johnny come lately, and I appreciate all the history. But we, as a group, as a whole, it was a 100% vote. Multiple times the same answer was we are insistent that the city see it our way. Obviously, we know that it is the city's responsibility that it be honored as all Veterans Park. It's Veterans Park. It isn't for special memorializing, and that's included all veterans, much less civilian. That's.
But it will always remain a city park.
Yeah.
City retained
Ownership of
it.
Right.
Well, we wasn't.
Yes.
Never did we try to claim ownership or take.
Right.
over it.
Right.
And I've said that multiple times.
It was just officially to be named Veterans Park, because I remember when I was at the council and they did Rotary Park. I didn't take very long. It's like it happened like this, and it was named Rotary Park. To include a small monument or naming it Rotary Park, which turned out to be a little bigger than what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened pretty quick. Again, I came here in 2005, so as far as the history of it, I've always known it as Veterans Park myself. And ever since I joined, I was already part of the VFW when I came here. And since I joined the groups, we always had our ceremony there. So
One quick question. You mentioned the plaques, and I think there's been two sides. I'm not sure who's maintaining or prompts those plaques to be put up there when somebody passes away.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys are wanting to take over?
Yes, we agreed to that before the issues of all the big plaques came up. Okay, the plaques and monuments came up because there were people asking us, and we have a means of finding out as well as anybody who's a veteran and who's a local veteran, and that was part of the premise. I mean, was putting people's names there that are deceased that have a relation to this town. I mean, that was a premise behind what it was. That's
How
what
many
we
plaques
understood.
have you put up since you've taken over, supposedly?
This, right, just this last year?
Yeah,
Two.
two.
If we have any questions or comments from the council, I think we have a plan of action that Don is going to be our liaison. I'll assist him. So we'll pass the baton to him, and I will work with whoever I can to help you with that, Don. And the goal is that the second meeting in January, we'll have some kind of a resolution, proclamation, to put it officially as Veterans Park. Plan of action? Sound good, council?
I appreciate
So,
it.
we appreciate everyone's patience as we work through some of this. Okay? And Lynn, thank you for coming tonight.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Is there any, now we're going to go to public comments. Is there anybody like to speak? Public comment period at the beginning of the meeting as well as at the end. And we'd love to have you speak if you would like to, now, or you can wait till the very end of the meeting. Seeing none, we'll go ahead now and approve the minutes, please.
I move that we approve the minutes from our regular council meeting on December 1st, 2025.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any questions or comments concerning those minutes from the council? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Seletsky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Thank you. Now we're going to go to invoices with City Clerk Janet Henning.
In the Department of Accounts and Finances, we have $132,694.59. The Department of Streets and Public Improvements, $216,954.17. The Department of Public Safety, $349,613.16. And the Department of Public Property and Utilities, $848,819.56, with a grand total of $1,548,081.48. Mayor and council members present have confirmed the reviews of all the invoices, and they're now submitted for this meeting.
I move that we approve the invoices as presented.
We have a motion and second. Is there any questions or comments from the council concerning those invoices? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Seletsky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye.
Next on the agenda, we have ordinance O-25-16, amending the City of Princeton Land Development Code to allow by special use the locating of outdoor and indoor sports and recreation and outdoor and indoor spectator sports in an agricultural A-zoned district. This is the second and final reading.
I move that we approve ordinance O-25-16.
Second.
We have a motion and second, and again, this is a second reading. Is there any questions or comments from the council? Anything additional? No? You got representatives here from Princeton High School. Otherwise, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Seletsky.
Aye.
Mayor Mabry.
Aye.
Next on the agenda, we have ordinance O-25-17, amending the City Code of Ordinances to establish regulations for ground-mounted solar arrays in residential districts. This is our first reading.
Okay, now, is that correct on that? Or are we going to put that on hold?
Yeah, I think the consensus with Plan Commission last Tuesday was that we were going to really look into that with some of your feedback and then come back to the table with something that would be, everyone would appreciate.
And we got a little time on that since winter's set in, so we're not going to take any action on that tonight.
So we're going to
So,
table.
We're going to table that.
shall we move to table it, or is that necessary? Okay, I move that we table ordinance O-25. Oops.
What'd you say?
Table indefinitely, right?
Yes,
I move that we table ordinance O-25-17.
indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
Forever and ever.
We appreciate the full-time staff helping us out. We do. We'll get the Robert's Rules of Order here one of these days figured out.
If you want to do it every meeting.
No, I think we're good with this, Michael.
Enough is tabling.
We have a motion and a second on tabling that indefinitely at this point.
Did we get a second?
We did. Yep, we did. Good question. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Okay, Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Seletsky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye.
All right, next we have ordinance -025-018, levying of taxes for corporate purposes for the fiscal year commencing on the first day of May 2026 and ending on the 30th day of April 2027 for the city of Princeton, Bureau County, Illinois. This is the second and final reading.
I move that we approve ordinance O-25-018.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and again, this is the second reading. Is there any questions or comments from the council? Otherwise, clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Seletsky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye.
Next, we have a motion for the 2026 council meeting dates.
I move that we approve the motion to approve the 2026 city council dates. We have a motion and a second. That's pretty straightforward. Any questions or concerns on that? So clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Seletsky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye. I move that we approve the recommendation variance approval for Eric and Bridget Yolandi.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or comments? I think we're pretty straightforward on what's going on there. Michael?
Just a quick summary of
Sure.
all this, just so we all know.
And I'd say brief on the summary.
Yeah.
I'm not in a rush, but that's about a 4-year project, right?
At
Yes.
least.
Okay.
So it's an existing deck that was built without variance or permit 7 years ago. So we hired John's firm. Alex Hall was our attorney on that. So of course, the zoning code, they came to a conditional agreement that if the variance was approved flush with the house, that we could settle it that way, so it doesn't have to go to court to get litigated. Everyone thought it was fair. A compromise plan commission saw it that way, and as such, they passed it along to you.
Any questions or comments on that from the council? That was approved unanimously by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Okay, seeing none, clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Seletsky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Okay, now we're on to the motion to approve the update. And should we have Teresa explain a little bit about that before we go to that motion? What would you prefer there, City Clerk?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Teresa, would you like to give us a little update on that? What's going
Sure.
on, please?
As you know, with our benefits manual and our personnel manual, 2 different documents, it can get kind of confusing, but these should be revisited every so many years. We just had an update to this about 2 years ago, I believe now. A couple of items that are coming up for suggestions for update are coming in with what's coming up this next spring after the first of the year here. We'll have 4 union negotiations starting. So some of the stuff we need to make sure we get this cleaned up before we go into those discussions with the unions. That way everything's cleared up. Because in their contract it actually references these manuals, so we need to make sure that everything's clear. So there are 3 items. One is on holidays, one is on PLAWA, and one is on separation of employment. So first of all, the first one will be in the benefits manual where we have our listed holidays, and in your packet I have them highlighted are the ones that would be impacted. We've talked about this, I don't know how many years, with department heads and employees. Comes up every year during negotiations with the contracts. In comparison to other communities, we don't have a lot of leverage there because we had 10 paid holidays, which is what we currently have. And in the sheet I believe I gave you, and I do have a copy of these if you want them, in comparison to the surrounding communities as well as the county, that's at 17 holidays. Down for you guys. It's one way to maybe level the field and give a little bit of a I don't want to say competition with other communities and counties when it comes to just holidays. So the two that we were kind of looking at is we have Christmas Eve as a half day, New Year's Eve as a half day. We usually end up closing City Hall to the public anyways. So if we can knock those two out, that gives us one more day. And then the other one that comes up as a question throughout almost every year is it's Good Friday, but we call it Spring Holiday in some of the communities. That's one of them that usually the banks are closed, post office closed, schools closed. So it's just kind of one of those that lingers out there. So those are the two that I would be proposing, and that's been cleared with department heads to make sure those work out for them as well. In your packet, that little packet that I just gave you, there are, ignore the first couple rows of the really, you have to have your glasses on. Sorry. There's about 91 communities that are reported, but the top ones don't really count because they're not reporting the same amount. There's something different going on there. So average, most communities, if you average these out, we're right about around 11 and a half vacation days across the state. Now some of them go all the way up to 15 days, but that's, it stretches anywhere from 6 to 15. So that's just for your own info there if you want to take a peek. And it even indicates which ones are your holidays. So Juneteenth is another new one that most are having off, but we haven't proposed that one. So it's up to discussion for the council on that one. Do you want me to go on to the next one? Or you want
No, let's do one at a time.
Okay.
Teresa, did you say that the schools are closed on Good Friday here in town?
Schools, yes. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
I'd asked Teresa to give us some rough numbers. So when we take our how many full-time people do we have on staff roughly?
We're over 80.
80 right now.
So if you add up what a holiday costs for the city, that's basically our base salaries for the day. It's about $25,000.
80 employees. I'd like to hear the council's thoughts on this, but I'll just start in by saying, the 2 half days, it's a little easier to give those up in the sense, I say give them up to offer those to our full-time employees and say thank you for their service. Coming in, it's a lot of people that work the day shift, and I know this doesn't account the fire department and the police department that have their different hours, but they come in at 7 in the morning and they go home at 11. So I would just encourage if the council consider up front, we'll go ahead and give the additional 2 half days. That gives us a full day. And then I did a little research on the city approved and off their website, which shows the 2025 observed holidays. I wanted to get a sense where they're at. They do a total of 11 right now. Now, out of those 11, they do Martin Luther King Day, and we do some other different things. I caution the council that someday we may be forced, and I don't mean that in a negative way, to take on some additional holidays. So I shouldn't use the term forced. But so I would encourage the council to consider a little bit of a compromise here, the 2 halves, and then we'll forgo the other full holiday for the time being. Any thoughts from the council?
I think you've got one community here that is the only one listed that gives Easter off. And I don't know that I've ever seen that listed anywhere else as a holiday that they give off. But the one has it listed here, which if you take that one up, brings them down to 11. And I would agree those half days, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, I think those would be beneficial to the employees to have those off and forego the other full day would be my thought.
Because it's not necessary or not a good idea? Or?
I'm thinking that I'm looking at some of these other communities here that they have some off that I think possibly may end up being mandated by the state. And to give that second full day off and then you find out that these are mandated after you've done it, I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing to really give up that other day. What's your thoughts on that?
Well,
I'm thinking that you would.
I am. I'm thinking that we have 80 loyal employees who do great work for us and step up each and every time, and we're looking at $25,000. We just spent $1.5 million tonight. I'm not sure that why couldn't we treat our employees and give them an extra day? I mean, over 30% of companies and municipalities give Good Friday off across the country. And I don't know why shortchange employees. If we want to shortchange people, maybe we should have given that $30,000 to the Chamber of Commerce. But we did that, so I think we should do it.
I have a question. Is it time yet for this? No, not yet?
We'll get you when you smoke. I'd like to get the council's thoughts first, and we'll be glad to have you talk, ma'am. Go ahead. Jerry, is it?
No, I'm okay. What I have to say.
What I'm thinking about is, I know that I work for Bureau County, and a lot of it really didn't have anything to do with it. I personally will go in on the holidays myself. I am salary, so I go in to check on things from time to time. But something that you have to look for, sometimes it's not only the salary, but it's also the payroll taxes that get involved in it. IMF gets involved in it, or any retirement 401k gets involved with any of the salaries, which anybody that has worked in and done any kind of payrolls or anything else know that it's not just that one particular salary. It's not just 20,000. It's not just 30,000. It actually increases. So this is something that I kind of been thinking about since I had a call today. Is like maybe there's something that we could have had a special meeting on and to kind of discuss it. I know that a lot of the discussions that happen are basically with the city manager and with the unions, and there has never been anybody involved. Maybe the mayor has been involved with some of it, and usually we get the information at the last minute, which is something that, you know, some of the things that I probably would like to have ahead of time to kind of discuss it a little bit myself, to make things of it. And as far as like Bureau County, if you want to compare things, Bureau County to the city of Princeton, the pay scales are a little different. I can tell you that right now. I hope the prime is a little different because we basically work out of grants and fees. We're not strictly basically an entity that works solely out of taxpayer money from the taxes here, from property taxes. We do other things. So sometimes you want to reward employees, but if you look at it now, it's like our pensions are not even funded all the way. You know what, 50-some percent, 50-some percent. And so
Are you getting anywhere with this, Hector, or what do you think? Should we or shouldn't we?
I'll get into that.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Sure.
But, you know, personally right now, I think that if anything, we would need to hold off on one of the days and see. I know that the Christmas Eve and New Year's is usually time for families to kind of get prep and get together to celebrate.
Mike?
I personally agree with Jerry on here. I think it's a benefit for our employees. We're spending the money whether they're working or not working. It's not, you know, $25,000 extra we're spending here. I think it's a benefit, like Jerry said. We got a lot of good employees here, and I think it is a benefit to them to put that on there. So that's my opinion.
So it sounds like we've got, we're all in agreement on the 2 half days. That's not a problem. So we're already, in fact, as of tonight, we're contributing $25,000 additional to the employees. And that includes all union employees as well as department heads. Everybody that's a full-time employee. The question is, do we add that second holiday on there? And there is concern that maybe we will be mandated down the road for some additional holidays. So I would say that at this point, I would like to ask the council then, I think we don't have a consensus completely here, of course, that we move forward with the 2 half-day holidays, and we wait on the other holiday. I know you're going to be negotiating with 4 different contracts this year, right? And so I don't want to be negotiating against myself, and we all appreciate our employees. We know that. We all do. So this was brought up just 2 weeks ago for the first time, and we're taking, I think, fairly quick action on this. So at this point, there's no consensus other than you have 3 Councilmember Gomez, you're in favor of just the 2 half days and hold off on the other one, and John,
I'm in favor of the half days. The other one, the other thing that I really wanted to know, and I don't know, is you look at the other communities, but I don't have any visibility of what their total benefit package is. And without knowing what their total benefit package is, there may be an aspect to it that we don't see here. And so I think it would be beneficial to know a little bigger picture of what the benefit package is. And, if we're lagging in that benefit package, then we need to address that overall, the whole thing. And also, I think we have a great group of employees. It's not that my decision is based on the fact that I don't think that that's the case.
Great. Okay. Well, we have 3, 2, and so we have consensus at this point. How do we take an informal action on this then tonight?
Maybe we should table it and have a resolution in the next meeting or something. Because it sounds like there's somewhat of an impasse. Maybe we need some time to think about it and then take a vote and see how it falls.
I would like to have time to gather just a little bit more information for myself.
Okay, let's put it to the second meeting. Again, we got the first meeting in January. We've got a lot going on, and that'll be fine. So the second meeting. And this is the city of Peru that I pulled up with 11 holidays, but let's make sure we verify that, okay? I got that just off their website, because websites can change.
Actually, it might be on that sheet.
But we have agreed on the 2 half days, so that's really not an issue. We're just going to talk about that Easter.
Teresa, are all these communities, how many are union and how many are non-union?
Well, I would say most of them are going to be union.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I think Don had brought that question up to me about the benefits package last week, and the best explanation for that is when you go into negotiations, you have your benefit packages that are being compared. So really the union kind of keep everything in check, but the benefits are really going to kind of stay pretty close. So.
Okay, so we're going to shoot for the second meeting in January on that, and we'll do it between now and the next, what's so fresh in our mind. Teresa will give us an email at the end of the week, as she normally does, which we appreciate on Friday, letting us confirm if Peru is indeed 11. Okay, so I'd like to hear from Peru. Very good for your input tonight on that. And let's see here. Oh, no, I know that. I know where we.
So the next one's in the personnel manual. So we're going to go to the other manual. We recently updated for the what we call PLOW, which is the Illinois Paid Leave for All Workers Act, which is as part-time, the main gist of it is a part-time worker, you're able to accumulate some big time off. One thing that we did overlook when we put this together, the standard max was based on a 40-hour work week. However, when it comes to part-time fire, it's a different shift, you get different hours, so we needed to make up for that difference. That way when they take a shift off from the hours that they've earned, it's a complete shift, and it doesn't keep it a partial shift being taken off and then having somebody come in and fill. So basically, I didn't highlight this whole thing because a lot of it did change, but it's mostly for that exception of the part-time firefighters, the only thing that changed. So that one's kind of easy. Sure. The last one is separation of employment. This has come up as a question, I don't know how many years, since I've been here. When it comes time for retirement, mainly is the focus of this, that vacation personal is in the third highlighted section there. Vacation personal or sick time shall not be used to extend an employee's final day of work, meaning if you have built up 4 months of vacation time, you can't work and then take 4 months off and then retire after that 4 months.
So that means you can't leave 4 months early. Right. Okay.
Right. You should work through that period up to your final day. If you do take some time off within that time period, just get it cleared so we know. Mainly for the department head's sake, as you all know. Also for my updates, the number of retirements that we have coming up in a couple of departments. This could cause a huge issue without having people there on the payroll, but not actually there. It does also require that they're here on their last day. which means you get your, all your key cards turned in, computer stuff turned in, phones, log out of everything. Sometimes in the past, people haven't been here on their last day, and it kind of just makes things a little bit uneasy. So,
I have a question on that one. Is vacation accrued?
mm-hmm.
So
while they would be off on vacation, they'd be accruing vacation.
So my question is, you accrue vacation by quarters. If you were to separate, not talking retirement, to separate, can you take off, say, the beginning of the year on a 3-week hunting trip, and then come back and say, I'm turning my notice? Are you getting your vacation paid that you haven't earned for that year?
You earn it as you go.
You earn it as you go. Okay. Okay, that's the one question I had on that. You earn as you go. So
you'd
be paying it back then if you used it and then turn it. Okay. So,
one time during the year, they're allowed to do a buyback on vacation as well. So if you accumulate a lot of vacation time, or not buyback, the city can buy it back from you. So they get some of those hours and days off the books.
Is that 1 by 1, right?
What's that?
1 hour per hour you get paid, or you buy it when
Correct.
you first start. That's what I mean. Not a 1 day per half.
Teresa, is that it?
Yep.
You feel good about those other 2 things? I was
Yep.
going to gloss over. I apologize. And young lady, you'd like to speak, right? Do you have something you want to say?
I can take a minute to speak.
Okay,
But I was
please.
just going to ask a question, but yeah.
Okay, does it concern this, what we're discussing, or?
I was going to ask a question about the, because or do you want me to wait until public comment?
Public comment, and that'd be great, if you don't mind. I thought it was going to be specifically about this, so I didn't want to slight you by moving on.
Can I just ask a question then about, do you guys, as far as what you're taking care of in the package, are you paying premiums? Since they're mostly unions, the premiums are completely paid, right?
Insurance premium.
That's all.
All right, good. And we'll have you talk then in public comment, if you don't mind. Okay, good. Okay, so now, where are we here?
Board appointment?
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
we need a motion there to table.
Are you good with the second two? We can move forward with those then.
Yes. Yes, that sounds good.
Okay. Is that okay?
More tabling?
Well, I think you should table the holidays,
Okay.
and then we need to
Yes.
approve the other 2.
Okay. I move that we table our discussion regarding holidays for city employees.
Second.
We have a motion second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman,
Aye.
Gomez,
Aye.
McCall, Zaleski,
Aye.
and Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Thank you.
I move that we approve the motion regarding the benefits handbook relating to separation of employment and what was the other topic?
Flower.
I'm
Paid
sorry.
leave for all.
Paid leave. I make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion second on that, and clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Newman,
Aye.
Gomez,
Aye.
McCall,
Aye.
Zaleski,
Aye.
and Mayor Mabry.
Aye.
Move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I move that we approve the reappointment to the Historic Commission, or the Historic Preservation, Michael Lee, to fill a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2028.
Second.
Motion second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman,
Aye.
Gomez,
Aye.
McCall,
Aye.
Zaleski,
Aye.
and Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Okay, now, Teresa, down to the city manager report.
First thing on here, this always ends up being a tongue-tied, try to get through this. First of all, is the holidays for the upcoming for City Hall. We're on the topic of Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Those currently right now are not holidays. It's only a half-day holiday. However, we do close City Hall on those days due to low staffing numbers and, quite frankly, low foot traffic. So if we can keep the doors closed, sometimes we can get some stuff done in here if the employees decide to come into work. So otherwise, we let them take that day or that half day off. So in observance of Christmas, city offices will be closed Wednesday, December 24th, and Thursday, the 25th. Wednesday's garbage pickup will remain the same. Thursday's garbage pickup will be picked up on Friday, December 26th. Friday's pickup will remain the same. Please put items out early. And it's almost the same thing for New Year's Eve. In observance of New Year's, city office will be closed Wednesday, December 31st, and Thursday, January 1st. Wednesday's garbage and recycling pickup will remain the same. Thursday's garbage and recycling pickup will be picked up on Friday. Fridays will remain the same. Okay. Also, the last part of your packet there is the fire pension report. And then just so you're aware, I just scheduled the TIF Joint Review Board annual meeting, which we do every year with the taxing bodies. That's set for January 13th at 10 a.m. at City Hall.
Okay, very good. Very good, thank you. Under the mayor's report, a couple things. Victoria Epson, our tourism director, she coordinated the hosting of it's called the Amtrak Corridor. So it's a group of communities that are along the Amtrak route, and I'd say roughly from Mendota all the way down to Quincy that's included in this. So it includes, these would be Amtrak stops: Mendota, Princeton, Kewanee, what would be the next one? Galesburg, Macomb, and then Quincy. So they hosted a meeting every 3 months for the mayors to get together with the city managers in each community, and it's been hosted by the city. Last fall we hosted it, so it's this year, this fall we hosted it just this past week, and it was at the meeting room. It's on the south end of town, which is called
The Room.
The Room. Okay, very good.
Nikki Lynn,
yeah,
building.
Yeah, great venue. It was a great venue, and Victoria did a nice job, and we had a lot of nice compliments. The communities would be very proud of how the mayor of Macomb was raving about how well we did, and then he's going to host it. His community's going to host it in February. But the whole meat of it is, when you go to meetings, and all of us on the council, we've been to meetings, sometimes we glaze over at times thinking, oh man, when's this meeting going to end? But it has a lot of good input in there. We had Amtrak was there represented, and then IDOT was represented out of Chicago, because IDOT really, Amtrak works for IDOT. It's a unique situation where the money goes. But ridership is up. Roughly we got went from like 25,000 riders to 27,000 for our little stop in Princeton for the past 12 months. And so I think they said about 6% increase is what you're looking at for ridership, and that's good. Moline is still over there trying to get a leg of a route from Moline all the way to Wyanett, Illinois, and then hook up to the Burlington Northern route. So it's going to be very interesting to see if that ever happens. But they're very optimistic about that, because some money was released for that. But that could be 10 years from now. The reason I bring that up is, I'd say on a given weekend, we have at least 25% of the vehicles in the parking lot at the Amtrak station in Princeton are Iowa plates. People are traveling from the Quad Cities. If they're going to be going eastbound, they come to Princeton, and parking's free. It's a nice parking lot. We got a great station, friendly staff there, and so we hate to lose those folks that come visit Princeton. But it could be a long time before that actually happens, where we lose them. So good meeting with Amtrak. Second thing is, as mayor, I toured the Area Career Center over at LaSalle Peru High School, and I'm glad we got some representatives here from Princeton High School. I just want to say kudos. The high school invests in the students that want to take vocational classes, and they can be a junior and a senior. And over at the Area Career Center, they teach things like welding, woodworking, lathe metal working, CNC working. They have a full nursing program. They have a firefighters program. They have an aviation program. They have an early childhood program. There's about 10 different programs they have. So the young people leave Princeton High School in the morning, take a quick bus trip over to South Peru, and then they're there for, the folks over there say, well, they have 100 minutes to work with those young people, and then they get back on a bus and go back to Princeton for lunch. But those are 30 people in our community that may very well stay in our area and take on those trades when they get out of high school. The welders of the world, the carpenters, and as we all know, trying to find somebody to come work on something at your house or wherever, it's tough, man. So we want to say thank you to the high school for their investment in that, and continue that. We appreciate that. So with that all said, we'll go now to old business. I don't know if we're going to make any actual formal decisions yet on e-bikes, but I wanted each council member to have this. This is the New York Times Magazine that just came out December 7th. It's about 8 pages here. Are e-bikes out of control? And when you read through this, you'll just be your homework assignment. You'll see that the real concern is the pedestrian that's on the sidewalk, as well as we certainly are concerned about the rider of the bicycle themselves. But a lot of pedestrians have been hurt by these bicycles because they're 30-mile-an-hour missiles going down the sidewalks and down the road different directions. And we appreciate that Councilmember Slutsky brought this up the other day. So, is there any additional comments on that? Otherwise, we're going to do a little more homework on that. Is there, Teresa, do anything else on that?
No.
Okay, Chief, we're good on that. We got a little more homework on that. Okay, as we said, maybe the weather's helping us out with the e-bikes, but as we know, they still go in the snow as well. Any new business before the council this evening? Any public comment? Young lady, was like different? And all you have to do is just state your name, ma'am.
Okay, Nicole Doppler. Doppler, like the radar.
Okay.
Okay, so hi everyone, Nicole Doppler, and I'm going to be running for a state representative seat in this area. So it's District 73. So since I was here, I thought I might introduce myself, but I won't take too long since I wasn't on the agenda. I'm from the Port Byron Rapid City area. I have served as a trustee for my city council I did that for about 6 years, and I've served on all kinds of committees and boards for hospitals and colleges before I ever cared anything about politics at all. So that was just, my way of giving back to the community while I was a stay-at-home mom. I was a stay-at-home mom for about 10 years, and otherwise I've worked in the medical field all of my life. So since 1996, I started in medical records and have worked many jobs throughout Unity Point Health Trinity and some jobs at Trinity Health System Mercy One Genesis. That's all one name, one corporation. So, and watching, what it does to take Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security away from people. That's why I'm running, and not only because of what it does to the human being, but what it does to our hospital systems. So, I'm going to be running for a state rep seat. I would be happy to take any kind of questions if you have them. But protecting medical benefits is the biggest thing for me. And I also have a long family, history. I have a lot of family who have been in unions. So I definitely want to protect those things and just protect working people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's see. Any other public comment? Yes, Geraldine, come up, please.
Good evening, I'm Geraldine Woodley. I'm a resident here in Princeton. I've been involved with Veterans Park before it was Veterans Park, probably around the year 2000, dealing with the master gardeners that actually were the ones that won that award in 2002. I'm with Lions Club. Now, everything that is definitely been put in that park has been okayed by the city. It is the city that owns that park. That Veterans does not have an apostrophe S. It was put there as an honor, not giving the park to somebody, just as Zurich Park, only something like Sam's Club has an apostrophe S, because Sam owns Sam's Club. So all I want to understand is, if the veterans are taking over the park, please remember all the things that we as Lions put in that park were okayed by the city. There's even newspaper articles proving it. So please remember that.
Thank you, Geraldine. And for the Lions Club members who are here tonight, we do appreciate all the work you've done. And I mean that in all sincerity. Every one of us council members appreciate that to get it to us where we are tonight. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
I think Al wanted to say something.
Al, I'm sorry, jump in there.
Thank you. My name is Alan Weber. I am past president president, vice president a couple times, and I'm now treasurer. Didn't catch the whole thing. You made the comment, somebody approached you wanting you to take over the park. Who was that person?
She did not approach me.
No.
Okay? It was referenced to the mayor, to me, and thus to the veterans group to take over the maintenance of the park. I understand some people speak out of emotion, and I held off a while waiting for maybe something to calm down and then it not be the case. But if months or so went by and it ended up, yes, we accepted the responsibility of the maintenance of the park. But Ms. Woodley was the first to mention this to the mayor. When she came to the meeting that night, it wasn't to me directly. I got my information from the mayor that she expected that the veterans should take over the maintenance of the park.
Is that correct?
We had a meeting, and the comment was made, and I asked Geraldine to reiterate it, was that if the veterans took over, they would take over the whole thing. That's her comment was. And I'm not here tonight to sharpshoot this, but it was my understanding from her, because I said, is that what you want? She said yes. And I think the question was, if we could, that was my interpretation at the meeting that we had, was that if the veterans were going to take over the park, they were going to take over the whole thing, meaning the maintenance of it.
Okay, then, so you were the one that approached him to take it over?
No, I was not.
That was a question I asked and was never answered.
No.
He mentioned that that's what she said, and we waited for time for it to cool down, and maybe it gets squared away that it wasn't what she said, but we accepted it. I sent a message that yes, we do accept it to the mayor.
I think what I would say is the challenge we had is communication, and we've enjoyed having Geraldine, the veteran, many times on her concerns. We've had Jim Argo come to those meetings, and we appreciate Jim being there. So I think the last meeting, Teresa, I think we were in that meeting when Geraldine was there, and it was brought up about her comment was that, again, was that if the veterans want to take over the park, they take over the whole thing, maintenance-wise. And so if you folks still want to assist the veterans, but the veterans at this point, my understanding is they're very well prepared to take over the maintenance of the park.
This is true.
We've had numerous, and you can back us up on this, Ray, we've had numerous cleanup days up there where the veterans group was notified we were going to do it. Nobody ever showed.
And
we have veterans that go up there on their own and do weed eating and doing spraying and such as that without going and get permission from anybody.
Sure. Why don't we do this? We appreciate the veterans. We appreciate the Lions. Go ahead if you want, Al. Do you like to make some more comments, please? I don't think we need to banter back and forth in this respect.
You also stated that there's been 2 plaques put up on there. How many veterans have passed away in the year and only 2 plaques?
We had just put together the panel.
This should be an offline discussion between you two gentlemen.
Right, Al, go ahead. If you have any other additional comments to make, and certainly you can talk to him afterwards.
I certainly will.
And I'll stick around for that conversation as well.
You know, these are just questions that were arisen here in front of people, and I just kind of like some clarification when something's made.
Sure. Okay.
I will let it rest.
And we're going to stick around then and visit. We could back in the corner there. We'll have Don can join me in that. Yes.
Could I ask one of the council members to give their copies of what was said in May and what was said tonight to Alan here, so he knows what's been said along factually instead of hearsay?
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Stick around, Al. Okay, and hopefully Geraldine will stick around as well. And Don, still have you stick around too if you don't mind. Since you're going to inherit some of this. Okay. Very good. Now, thank you, Al. Appreciate it. Let's go back to this. We're going to wrap this up, but I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. You know, I know it's a challenging world we live in today. We know that. And we got in a community of 7,900 people. We all want what's best for our community. That's our goal. We may not always agree with the direction. There's 4 different ways to get to Tisquat tonight, and the way I go may not be the way that somebody else is going to go. Because I cut through the pucker brush and head down through the hills. So, yeah. So, anyway, let's do this. Merry Christmas, everybody. Okay?
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Jerry, are we ready?
Okay.
Go for it.
I move that we adjourn our regular meeting this evening and reconvene for our next city council meeting on Monday, January 5, 2026, 6 p.m. at City Hall.
Second.
Motion second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
Valesky.
Aye.
And Mayor Mabry.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned, and again, feel free to stick around and talk to your council members.